Many producers are still making boring chord progressions and they're still getting rejected because their music is too basic. But what they don't realize is that making catchy chords it's quite easy. So in this video I'll show you the 5 simple chord tricks that you can apply right now that will make your tracks memorable. In music we have 2 main types of chords, major and minor. These chords or triads are composed by 3 notes. The first note or the root note, the one that gives the name of the chord, the third and the 5th note. They get these names because starting from the root note you can count 3 notes to create a major chord or 2 notes to create a minor chord. So here we have this chord progression. These are on the scale of C major, which is, to keep it easy, just the blank notes, so we won't use the black notes in this case. It's not necessary to know the name or which chords are these, but it's important to know that these are on the basic form, the first, the second and the third, and as you can hear these are so boring. But what will happen if we want to change the order of the notes? So let's take the example of the first chord. We have a C major chord, which again is the first, the second and the third. We have C, E and G notes. So what happens if we want to move the G 1 octave below? We can do that. We still have the same chord because these are the same notes, but it sounds different. The thing here is combining this concept with all the chords of the progression to make it catchier. This concept is called chord inversions. So I tried different chord inversions with the same chord so you can get an idea of how just playing with this trick we can make it sound way better. We have C major, so let's try maybe this one up, this one down. So let me try different inversions to spice these chords a bit. I'll move this down. I see that these chords are too far. So why not moving this down so it's smoother, this one up, and let's see here how it sounds. Okay, a bit catchier. To make it deeper I can try maybe the root notes but 1 octave lower or 2. But what if we want to add more notes? Adding more notes is what will give our chord progression a different character. We won't go deep in music theory, but by adding notes, we're basically making more complex chords. So let's try randomly adding some notes. If you don't know about music theory, it's more about trying. Okay, so in this part of the video I made a small mistake, because I was adding the notes but I wanted to start again with the trick, so I had to remove the notes that I already added. But as you can see on the third chord, we have on the top the B and C note. The B is the original note of the chord and the C is the note that I added. So when I was removing these notes to start again, I accidentally removed the V note instead of the C note. By doing this, I ended up changing the actual chord. Now, basically, we have the first and the third chord are the same, but in different versions. This doesn't really matter for the video, but I just wanted you to know the theory and the tricks are still the same. You can hear how catchy this sounds. So one extra tip here is that you can usually add a note that have been used in the previous chord. Like for example, I'm doing here. This is the G major chord, but I just added this note because we have it here. But we could say it's more about testing and stuff. When I was learning to make chords and melodies, I remember thinking, wouldn't it be nice to have unlimited ideas? Something like a superpower. This way I could focus more on finish more music and getting better at it. So I talked with Ofive and we made it real. We created the Ofive EDM MIDI bundle, which is a pack with 500 quality MIDIs that comes with 3 extra bonuses. One of these is an extra pack with 500 EDM MIDI chord progressions. So you basically get 1000 MIDIs to drag and drop to use now, with extra bonuses that if you're interested you can check in the link in the description. So we have this chord progression, but it's still too boring. Therefore we can try to add some rhythm. There are 3 main ways I approach this. First is the chord length, which is basically moving or keeping some chords longer than others. I think this is pretty simple. We can try this. And for example this, some slight movement to make it more interesting. Then we have the strumming, which is moving the notes of the chords slightly to humanize them. This is basically, let's say I'm playing the chords live, I won't be able to play all the notes of the chords at the exact time. Actually, let me try an example to show you it better. And as you can see here, if we zoom in, I'm not even good at this. You can see not only the final of the note that is different, but if you see here, and as you can see, I'm not on time. I'm even awful at playing piano, but you can see it also here. So the thing here is that we can move slightly the notes to humanize so they don't sound too robotic, playing exactly at the same time. And it's pretty simple to do this. You can play shift on the mouse wheel on the note and move it slightly. This one earlier, later, and there. So this is how it sounds. I actually like to play the top notes later. Okay, this one was awful, but you got it. The third way is actually changing the rhythm. We can copy and shorten the notes to create a rhythm. Oh, a little mention here, as I almost forget to say, you can download a free pack of 25 EDM MIDIs in the link in the description if you're not ready for the Ofive EDM bundle. And now that you're around there, click the subscribe button in exchange for the free stuff. Subscribe, it's free, and yeah, it helps a lot. So now we have this course. But they are still too basic for me. So this trick is what will apart you from everyone else. We have a chords, right? So sometimes some chords are too different or there's a big jump between two chords. What we can do in these cases is to add what I call transition chords, which is basically another chord that acts as a transition. If we go again to the basic form of a chords, you can see here that between these two chords there's a big jump, so we could add a transition. But for the chords we have, let's try to add a transition here. Maybe here we can go to D. And here again to F. Now we can apply the same concept that we already learned, such as inversions to make them catchier. And in seconds we've got a way more original chord progression. Okay, so our chord progression is better than the starting point, but this is what will hook your listeners. Adding extra notes here and there will make your chords catchier. I like to do this in two main ways, to attention or again as a transition of the chord. So let's try the transition first, which is the easiest one, I'd say. And I like to do this for the lower notes. I simply add a short note like this and usually add it in some of the notes below. What we can actually do is to reduce the velocity, which is playing it softer in the piano. Maybe one here too, really soft. And another one here. And probably here, I guess. And another one right there. As you can see, pretty simple stuff, but now these are catchy chords, and what I really like to do is to add some tension. What I usually do is I try to find a note in the scale or in the chord progression that sounds always good, and then repeat the note all the time. So I think A could work, so now let's repeat it. And what you can do is again play with the velocity. So there's a bonus tip that I'll tell you in a second, so subscribe and hit the like button if this was helpful in some way, as just a small fraction of the people who watch these videos are subscribed. And as a bonus, I wanted to say that you can download the free EDM pack with 25 EDM MIDIs. The thing here is that you can download them, study them, see how these chords or melodies were made, get interesting ideas, or simply start and use them to make your own tracks. And we talk about how to make your track catchy, but usually one of the most important things is the vocal. But if you're using Splice to get your vocals, you're probably doing it wrong. So watch this video now where I show you why it's wrong and how you should approach it to avoid copyright claims and even being sued. My name is this guy, click here and I'll see you in the video.